Hey, Coach, so glad you made it here. I want you to go over and check out teachhoops.com up here, down here. It's a great community. It really is. There's free resources. There's a newsletter. There's stuff that comes out all the time. I do not think you'll be disappointed. Go over and check it out. 14-day free trial. It's a great thing, and enjoy the video. Thanks.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 117 of Coach Unplugged. This show is sponsored by the people over at Health IQ. They are new sponsors. I'm super excited to have them on board. It's an insurance company that helps health-conscious people like basketball coaches, runners, cyclists, weightlifters, I don't know, everybody that's health-conscious, vegetarians, vegans, those kind of things, get lower rates on their insurance. And it's term insurance. I'm a big believer in term life insurance. I own term life insurance. I'm actually in the process of kind of going through getting more active, first of all, so I qualify for Health IQ, and then going through and seeing what they have to offer. It's a great organization. They would not be a sponsor of Coach Unplugged unless I believed in what they were selling. You can call them. You can. I'll give you a link. I'll put a link down in our show notes. It's really easy. Just go to healthiq.com/BCU. And, if you're an active person, if you run, if you do those kind of things, it just makes, from the math teacher and me, it makes more sense. They're going to give you savings because obviously if you're healthy and you're living a healthy lifestyle, the math behind it probably in my world would give them the ability to give you savings as far as paying less. So go over and check them out. Health IQ, health, and then IQ, like intelligence.com/BCU, Basketball Coach Unplugged. Go over and check it out. I think you'll be really happy with what they have to offer. So today is Monday. It's good. This podcast is going on a little bit later than normal because I was outside shoveling. It is Martin Luther King's birthday today, and so we don't have school. And I was out kind of doing that gig. That's why this is coming out a little bit later. I'm going to read something. I don't normally read on my podcasts or my vlog or whatever I'm doing, but I'm going to read these. This was from a member of the basketball community. He goes, and this again, if you're listening to this, in 2020, it's going to make a little bit of difference. But Minnesota basically won a playoff football game last night on a last-second toss, last play of the game. And I'm going to read it. I said, I think yesterday, last play in Minnesota correlates very much to basketball. Even all these years later, I still believe the hardest thing to do in basketball is close out, which is why multiple ball reversals raise shooting percentages so much, which I agree. We had a close game a couple days ago, and closing out is a huge thing, especially if you close out low rather than closing out high. It can be a big issue. The more times you reverse, the higher the better. I got to read this again. The more times you reverse, the higher and the better the shot. Last night, all the safety had to do was close out. All he had to do was tackle the guy. Easier said than done. It should be a teaching point to all of us. If the ball comes my way, here's how I'm going to play it. But in the haste to make the play, he failed to close out under control, and in so doing, allowed the offensive player to go by him and score. Now, tell me that hasn't happened to your team at least once. It has. I mean, I can go to our last game and think of the number of times that we didn't close out. Yes, he should have made the play, and to his credit, he's standing up and taking the heat. But while all the talking heads beat on this player, just keep in mind that that as teachers of our own sport, we have to understand how truly difficult it is to close out on each and every play. How hard it is to become precise. We talk about this in our Teach Hoops community. And again, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get her. We talk about these kind of things all the time about, how difficult it is, about the drills we can do to close out. And then the last point, today is Martin Luther King's birthday. I think it's a time for us to reflect. It's a time for us to reflect on the evils of the world, and how one person, one speech, one movement can change, or at least move us toward change. So I think that's really important to consider, as it's Martin Luther King's birthday again. So again, if you're liking these podcasts, please go over and subscribe and like. I'm going to throw that in there too. I know how much we like that. And again, I'll put all the links down below for Teach Hoops, you know, that I'm going to be talking about a little bit later. And for Health IQ, I'll put it down below. If you have kids and you're married and you have responsibilities and mortgages and stuff, you should have term life insurance. I truly believe that. And go over and check them out. It's a free quote, similar to a free 14-day free trial from Teach Hoops. So go over and check that out. All right. So today, what I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to give full credit for this. I got this from Rick Wolf. He's a nationally renowned. Sorry about getting in front of the camera there for the people who are watching. He's a nationally renowned expert on sports psychology. And, you know, I've been thinking, this is the middle of January. This is such a hard time for all of us as far as a lull in our season, a lull in practices, a lull in after the holidays. Like I said, it's Martin Luther King's birthday today. So he goes, how do you keep practices moving? You know, and his theory is, you know, how do you correlate the broccoli with the desserts? And I'll get into specifics of that. So he talks about 5 basic ways that we can keep it. And I agree. And I'm gonna add some of my thoughts and my things that I think, as far as all of us are going through practices this time of year and what we can do to make those better. Because, you know, the practice seasons have got longer, at least since I was a kid. It seems like they're longer and longer, and sometimes they're year round, depending on the kids. You know, how do you keep the fires burning? I could start singing, right? I won't do that. But anyway, you know, how do you keep the motivation that you had? Think back to that first day of tryouts or that first day of practice. You know, how do you keep that fire burning when you've been going for 2 months? You know, how do you fight the mental fatigue that we all face as the season grows, as the season goes on? You know, and his thoughts, I'm going to look his thoughts. You need to conduct practices, both a healthy diet of broccoli. So preparation of the fundamentals, things that you got to do. You got to work on your drop step. You got to work on your shot fakes, and the dessert, the preparation that, you know, is the mental unwinding, the fun part, the excitement of being a young player. And there's basically 5 ways. The first one that I believe is you got to front load. So you got to look at when your next opponent is. First of all, you have to front load the season, I believe. And then you have to figure out pacing. And we talk about this in our Teach Hoops community about how you kind of map out the entire year, which I think is really important. But I also think it's important you have to front load, you know, the week. So let's say like this week, it's Monday today. Like I said, it's Martin Luther King's birthday, and we play on Friday and Saturday. So we're going to front load the mental fatigue and some of the harder things early in the week, so that the mental aspects, we can use maybe more of the physical aspect later in the week. I just think that's really important from a fatigue standpoint from the kids. You know, I would love to practice 7 hours a day. I would love to get everything in. I would love to talk about all the possibilities. But, you know, sometimes that's difficult to do. So it doesn't, when you're talking about pacing, it doesn't mean you're getting rid of the fundamentals. It just means, you know, where am I putting the broccoli in relation to the dessert? I have found, especially with older kids, middle school, high school kids, that you can have the broccoli and the dessert in the same drill, in the sense that if you make it competitive, if you make it something that they really want to do, and there's a winner and a loser, especially on the boys' side, oh my God, that's the secret sauce in some respects. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, I don't tell them that I'm manipulating their diet. So, you know, I'm hiding the broccoli in the mashed potatoes. You know, I'm hiding the fundamentals. I'm hiding the mental fatigue. I'm hiding that learning process, which I think what a good teacher does is they hide that. You know, when I'm up teaching mathematics, I'm teaching statistics and stuff. I'll do a Kahoot to hide that they're actually learning something. I'll do, you know, so as a good coach and a good practice planner, you have to figure out how you're going to do the combination of not only the broccoli, but the dessert. How are you going to do the fundamentals along with the fun, unwinding thing? Psychology for a basketball coach is super important. You're not only a dad and a friend and a confidant and a disciplinarian. You're a psychologist. You're a teacher. Sometimes you're a pastor. It just depends on your teams, and you have to be all of them. You have to wear all those hats, no pun intended, and explain everything. And you have to inject that into your practices, into your film sessions, into your team dinners, into your family. One way that we do that, one way we can kind of do that is, this time of year, I'll do a one-on-one tournament. I'll do a two-ball tournament. I'll do something fun as our desserts, after we've done some stuff. Do I feel like we could spend more time on maybe our drop steps? Yes, I absolutely do. But sometimes you got to give a little bit, take a little bit to give a little bit. And, that really does happen. How you prepare the broccoli is important too. So going back, I know I'm using the broccoli and I'm moving things around here. So I'm sorry if I'm making some noise, but how you prepare the broccoli. If you only do it one way. So if I only get up in front of my math class and I only lecture and I only say, blah, blah, it's like, what is that? The Charlie Brown teacher. Wah, 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 wah. If I only do that every day, they're going to tune me out, right? If I only do the same drill every day, it's not going to work. So sometimes as a coach, you have to challenge yourself to think outside the box. You have to think about how I am going to prepare my broccoli, and this is true. This is one of the reasons I started teachhoops.com. So I could build a community. I could build drills. I could give coaches opportunities to talk about different ways of doing 3-man weave. If you love that drill, not a big fan, but anyway, how you could do different things. So that's why teachhoops.com is my baby. And I would hope you'd go over, if you listen to this podcast, go over and check it out. 14-day free trial. We are going to be within the next 4 to 6 weeks, prices are going to go up about 50%. Just because I'm going to have to I have to hire some people to do some things. We have to move to a different platform. There's a bunch of things that we need to do, and I'm going to have to raise prices. So the people that are in are just going to stay at the price they're at right now. And then new people coming in, or people that leave and want to come back, are going to have to come in at the more expensive price. I don't want to do that, to be honest with you. I would, but I got to be able to pay the bills and take my wife out to dinner once in a while, to be honest. So go over and check it out, teachhoops.com, for coaches who want to get better. So number 3 is how you prepare your broccoli. How are you preparing it? So let's go back, and I'm going to talk about our sponsor one more time here, just because I believe in it so much, especially for all you coaches out there. Excuse me. You can tell this is live. It's Martin Luther King. I'm doing this, and I'm popping it up on the World Wide Web and on iTunes and everything. So it is going to be what it is today. But anyway, health IQ makes sense. All of us live stressful lives. All of us are coaches, for the most part, that are probably listening to this podcast. We need to exercise more, which a lot of us do. It's our stress release. Why not go over and check it out? And just some things here. I'm going to look at my notes because they're a new sponsor. I'm guessing hopefully they'll stay on with us. But 56% of Health IQ customers save up to 4 to 33% on their life insurance, their term life insurance. So basically, the way term life insurance works, if I believe I know how it works, you pay yearly, which is like what I do. You pay yearly, and then if something happens to you, your estate gets that money. So it's basically an insurance policy on your life. If you're living a healthier life, you're probably going to live longer. You have the insurance policy in case something doesn't go better, and you're going to save on your rates. So it says Health IQ can save our customers up to 33%, which is awesome. So like, and I love the analogy. It's like, if you're a safe driver, you pay less in your auto insurance. If you're a healthy person, healthiq.com/BCU, then you're going to save on your life insurance. Makes sense to me. Again, it goes back to me being the math teacher. So what I will do is I'll put down in the show notes the link. Go over and check it out. They'll give you a free quote. Like I said, I'm in the process of doing that. I think it's a pretty cool thing. Can't hurt to get a quote. So again, healthiq.com/ and then BCU. I love that. Basketball Coach Unplugged. That's easy. BCU. Boston College University, maybe. I don't know. Something like that. All right. Let's get back to our steps here. So number 4, every practice has to have some dessert. Okay, so I know there's different parenting styles out there, and some parents don't think you should have dessert every dinner or every meal. When it comes to basketball practice, every dinner, everything should have some sort of dessert. So I'm going to read a quote from Hoosiers. Love the movie Hoosiers. It says, okay, so it's a 1986 classic movie with Gene Hackman. He's a new basketball coach in Indiana high school. As he drilled the team hard during an early season practice, a player called out, "When do we scrimmage?" Do you remember this scene? I do. "We don't scrimmage," Hackman answered, "and no shooting either. This ain't no fun," responded the player. "My practices are not designed for your enjoyment," Hackman shot back. "You're in an army. You're in my army every day between 3 to 5. That works great for Hollywood. That's not living in the Snapchat world. You better have some fun. You better bond with these kids if you want to win. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with a 5th grade girls team or an 8th grade AAU boys team, or you're dealing like with my team, one of the top teams in the area or the Midwest. You better have some dessert in your practice or you're going to lose them. They're going to walk out. I don't remember exactly what happened after that scene, but anyway, so I think that's really important. And then the last thing is I really, and this has changed for me as I've gotten older, you really need to listen. You need to listen to what your players are saying and what they are not saying. So what do I mean by that? The first thing is you got to listen if they're saying, "Hey, I'm tired. I'm not feeling well, blah, blah, blah." Obviously, if you're a communicator, you're going to do that. But you have to listen to the nonverbal cues. You have to listen to maybe I have to taper. Whoa, maybe I have to do something to make this a little bit less stressful for them as the season goes on. I'm a big believer in tapering. We're just starting our tapering right now. So it's going to change a little bit. We were at 4 hours, and now we'll be or 4 hours. We're not at 4 hours. We're at 2 hours, and then we'll taper down to an hour and 20 probably by the end of the season. So we lose 5. Usually, my rule of thumb is starting this time of year, we'll lose about 5 minutes a week till we get to about an hour 20. And again, it's really hard for me because I know the things we need to get better at. I know where we're not good. I see all the weaknesses and see none of the strengths. So it's really hard for me. But I work on that. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. A little bit different. I thought, especially with Martin Luther King and, those of you that are watching in the audio, see if I can slide it out here. I don't know. Yeah, you can't see out my window. I was hoping you'd be able to see out my window and see the snow coming down, but it's cold and snowy here in Wisconsin. So a couple things. Go over and check out Health IQ down below. You won't be disappointed. Free quote, big savings. If you're not athletic active, you need to get more active. I'm going to give you that speech right now too. But if you are, go check them out. Great gig. And then go over and check out teachhoops.com. Like I said, it's my baby. It's grown. I love the community. I love the coaches that are a part of it. Go over and check it out. 14-day free trial. And like I said, it's the middle of January. By the middle of February, within the next 4 to 6 weeks, prices are going to go up. I got to talk to my programmer and we got to do some things, but got to do it. got to pay my bills. So go over and check it out. And again, if you like these, please go subscribe, leave a review. The reviews are awesome. And if you have any questions, contact me at steve@teachhoops.com. All right. Have a great day, everybody.